Hey everybody, welcome to the Tuesday night energy update. I am just going to go live from my home office today and don't have all the bells and whistles of the studio tonight. We're getting ready for the tour, and so we're working around the clock. So I just wanted to jump online and give you guys a really important energy update of kind of where we are right now as far as our collective of light workers and messengers and teachers and influencers and all of you guys out there on the leading edge, down in the trenches. And I just wanted to kind of come through with maybe a little insight of what has transpired over the last week. I decided to do these weekly instead of just monthly like I've been doing for Second Sunday, just because the energy on the planet is increasing with such a speed that it can be kind of feeling like you're, in a washing machine, constantly being tumbled around. And, this solar flare and this full moon and this equinox and, this eclipse. And it's really been a jam-packed year of just constant change and upheaval. So where we are right now is we are kind of in the state of full circle. And that's really what this equinox, this fall equinox means. It means basically you've come full circle and it's time to go back onto the dark side or the inner side or the inner world again, and really start to kind of dig down deep inside of yourself to learn more about who you are. And that's part of the ascension process, is self-realization, and really kind of dig down deep. So we dig down deep, we expose, we become, we manifest, we reflect, and then it's time for us to go back in and really do a lot of the work. And that's why we have timed our tour right at the cusp of this fall eclipse, so that by the time you're ready to go inside and work as the alchemist again, you're going to be fully supported with the way the tour has been outlined. So what does it mean to kind of go full circle? Well, we understand that our physical reality is a spiral, and when we're going full circle, a lot of you guys are meeting your pasts right now. You're meeting old illnesses. You're meeting old, old patterns. Old ideas are kind of been surfacing, especially the last week, and it's really gearing you up for closure. Closure is kind of like the theme of this last week. This full moon in Aries is giving you kind of enough fire to say, I'm done with it, because it's kind of like that frustrated, like enough energy that kind of allows you to kind of step in your power and look at something not so deeply emotional, but more of the fire side of you, so that you can really complete the pattern. Because as we move in a circle, you always think, oh, the past keeps following me. But really, when you're walking in a circle, is the past following you, or are you meeting your past on that circular turn? And that's really where we are. So we're purging ourselves of old collective fear, of old timelines, of old memories, of old ideas, of old body stuff that's lingering around, because you have to remember that your cells also go through cycles. And every 9 to 11 months, your cycles go through a completion process. And a lot of times, if you understand epigenetics, when they go full circle, they meet the old cellular memory of the past, and they ask that old cellular memory, are we the same person? Are we still having that same belief that we had? Is it still us? Are we still this being? And if that cell does not have any new information or new coordinates or new consciousness awareness to it, it will begin to just repeat the cycle over and over again, except this time usually it becomes more dense. And when the cellular structure becomes more dense because there's no new awareness or consciousness, then it ages us, and it holds us down, and it takes a lot of our vitality away. And that's actually what is happening when we're aging, because age is literally a choice. And choice is really the theme of this week's energy update, because the only thing you're ever going to own in your physical reality is your choice. You don't take this with you. You don't take anything you accumulate with you. You just, in this moment, you own your choice, and your choices make you a millionaire or they make you broke based on what you're looking at. Do I have a million choices right now, or do I have no choices? Because really that old conditioning of the past, you were raised pretty much without choice. You weren't allowed to be you, and so you had to go off of what other people's choices for you were. And so you've learned the word no down at a cryptic, cellular, and also atomic level. And when you're identifying constantly with the vibration of no, you're always going to be in a state of sabotage, because you're like that child that's going to push the envelope, but at the end of the day, either you're going to say no to yourself, or you're going to manifest someone to say no to you, or right when you're at the finish line, you'll manifest a conflict, or you'll manifest a body issue, because you're running the no program. And if you're running a no program, as you reach a full circle, what you're going to notice is that you're the one who is in your own way. And whether it's a conflict that you've started, or the body has gone into full detox right before the tour. I know several of my students are going through full purging, because part of their instruction manual for getting ready for this DNA upgrade was emotional fasting and physical fasting. And because what we're doing is we're purifying the whole energetic field, the auric field, the emotional field, the physical field, of as much density as we can, because the denser something becomes, the more material it comes, and the more material it comes, and the more material it is, the less it can change, because it becomes a solid structure. If we were going to look at ascension or consciousness like the ice, the water, the steam idea, when something is ice, it's not easily as shapeable as what water can do, where it can just flow and become the shape of something. Or even more, it can become steam, which is basically what the field of possibilities is when we're talking about quantum mechanics. When you become the steam, you're basically fractaled pieces of consciousness that can adhere and change into any shape or form. Gas, ice, water, it can flow in any direction, because all it is now it's particles versus one inanimate object that is ice. So we're undensifying ourselves with this DNA upgrade, and the world is going through a DNA upgrade. The more space and light and allowance and flow and choice you are allowing within your being, the more in the flow you'll go, the faster the DNA will upgrade. The DNA will basically turn itself back on, because it's not something about we have to get this DNA like upgraded. It's more about activating or turning on ourselves, because we're running these old slavery no programs, and we keep meeting ourselves in this circular window. You know, we come back and meet the twin flame, we come back and meet the problem, we come back and meet the illness, we come back and meet the money problem. And if we're still there saying no, and our body is still saying no, and the cells are still saying no, it's going to set you up for failure. So really where we are right now with this equinox is it's all about letting it go. It's all about the purge of surrender. And surrender does not mean that you are giving up or that you have failed. Surrender means to turn over. And you have a higher mind, you have a higher self, you have a higher consciousness within you that is on the other side of the veil, that stays completely purified, doesn't have your memories, doesn't have your patterns, doesn't have your belief systems, doesn't have your logical mind. It only has the view of the mountaintop. And the view of the mountaintop is all possibilities. So sometimes when you're down in the valley and you can't see in front of your face, you've got to be able to hand over your problems or your challenges or your lack of choices to your higher self. And that higher self can then look at it from a very neutral, positive, higher perspective, nothing but possibilities, unlimited perspective, and it can take that over. But if you're running control mechanisms on the third dimension, or you're running control issues on matter, you're trying to control ice, then you're not going to really move that far. And it's time to surrender that control. It's time to turn over all of these things that we cannot fix because we're too much in the forest. We've got to get out of the forest to see the forest. We're going to step out and we got to turn it over. And as we meet ourselves in the mirror again and again and again, and we meet old conflicts and we meet old challenges, then what we're supposed to say to us as we go around that bend is, instead of saying no, this time we say yes. And we say yes to the unknown, and we say yes to change, and we say yes to possibilities, and we say yes to moving outside of our comfort zones, and we say yes to new relationships and new ideas. And no matter how scary it is something that we do because that's where we are as a collective. The more we say yes at the bend, the farther up the spectrum and the spiral we shift, and the more enlightened we can become as a civilization. Because if I'm not saying yes to myself, it's going to be hard for me to say yes to you. And if it's hard for me to say yes to you, then it's going to be hard for me to say yes anywhere in my life. And now we've got a world of no, which is basically probably what our childhoods felt like. And that's why we're repeating these patterns. So this equinox and this full moon are kind of that push to kind of move you full circle back into like the flip side around the sun where the shadow is, because really, you know, day and night is just a perspective of where that shadow and light is. And sometimes when you can't see, you got to go inside and you got to reflect from your own light, because, you know, it's not about cracking you open so the light can get in. It's about cracking you open so the light can get out. And so that you can, the diamond inside can really become. So that's really all I have for this week. You know, it's going to be fast and furious over the next few months and really getting ready for 2019. And a lot of you guys reach out and email me. When is first contact? When is disclosure? When is this going to happen? You know, when are the ETs going to be walking amongst us? And I wanted to just kind of answer that because it's a fun question that people always forget to ask me in Second Sunday. And I really wish we could talk more about that. And I want you guys to all know that first contact has already happened. And first contact happens through channeling. If you understand how fear works, then every amount of evolution will always happen through the path of least resistance. So the path of least resistance for first contact has always been the channeler. It means that if I were standing here in you know, the version of what I channel, you might not believe or understand or identify with what I'm saying and what I'm doing. But if it comes from a human or someone, the vessel that is channeling the information, then the world gets comfortable with the channeled information. It gets comfortable with the idea that this is virtual reality. We get comfortable with the idea that this is an illusion because it's coming from someone that appears to be the ICE mechanism of the communication process. So first contact has already happened. It's already happened through collaboration of the channel. And there's hundreds of thousands of channels out there now channeling everything in the universe. And it's been since the 20s now that we've had people channeling in human form. And when we all get comfortable with the idea that we create our own reality, that is our full responsibility, that we are creating our epigenetics, which means we are turning on and off our DNA, our focal points cause our health, it causes our abundance, it causes our freedom. We are the cause and effect. We are the karmic revolve of our own density and destinies. Then we get comfortable with that, we'll meet in the next level. And you guys will see that the more work you do with getting comfortable with yourself as a channel, channeling your higher self, channeling the angels, channeling whoever, then we'll all get more comfortable as a collective for the next step. And I will tell you that 2019 is going to be a really interesting year for those of you who are in the belief and in the know and in the practical application of creating your own reality through deliberate actions, not default. The default programs that are running right now are going to spin off into a parallel reality of old 3D, where you'll go and you'll spend another couple of thousand years basically figuring out responsibility and manifestation through the old paradigm, because it really is splitting into dual parallel realities of 5D and 3D. So listen to the people that are channeling right now. As long as the information that they're sharing resonates with you, take the advice and step into action. We're in the third phase of the awakening, which is I demonstrate. And it is your job as a light worker to demonstrate light. It doesn't mean you need to have the answers to everything. It doesn't mean that you need to be seeing or hearing spirit. It means that you are sharing your heart, that you are sharing love, that you are sharing information that helps people become empowered and courageous in their own awakening. And that's what it means to be a light worker. So it's time for us all to demonstrate. And I know hundreds of you guys are coming to the first Miami activation, which is a pretty big deal universally. And where we're doing it is kind of a homecoming for our Atlantean and Lemurian families of this understanding of this universe. And we are doing that on October 5th. And it is going to be from the 5th to the 7th of October, this DNA activation. And we're going to be basically getting the body into a position where it can access its crystalline coded DNA. And if you've read anything about that, that's where all of the fun begins, because that's where the superhuman you resides, is underneath the beliefs that you're not, underneath the beliefs of no, under the beliefs that you're not psychic, that you're not, you know, these things that you see other people acting out. You are exactly what you desire. And that's why you desire it. If you didn't desire it, you wouldn't be it. Desire actually comes from you being inside of your own jail cell. So you can never desire something that you aren't already a part of or fully capable of experiencing within yourself. So remember, when times get tough, that you are the alchemist. And it is only through your own deepest shadows that you're going to find the riches, the love of your life, you know, the partnerships, the relationships, the health. It is never going to come from outside of you. You may manifest a solution to work with outside of you, but the answers and the coordinates and the alignment and the frequency and vibration will always come from inside of you. So as you meet yourself full circle in this equinox and full moon, it's just time for you to say yes and step into courage and say goodbye to fear once and for all. And if you practice that long enough, you will not even live in a world that has any sort of that vibration at all. And that is really fun. So I hope you guys can join me in Miami. We will be leaking our next tour date. Obviously, we're going to be in Phuket for our second tour date. And that is going to be in Thailand in November through for the 1st through the 15th. That's a 2-week ceremony, which is going to be activations in different alignments, but we will definitely be doing activations and tons of ceremonies out in Phuket. It's a very specific place, and the energy that we're going to be working with is very deliberate. So if you guys are closer to Phuket and you want to get out there, you got to contact them and just let them know that you're, you know, say my name, say that, you know, TICA, say Transcendence Wellness Center, and they will give you a very special discount for being able to get there. Otherwise, we're going to let you guys know our 3rd location for this activation next week. And I will tell you, it is in the United States, and it is somewhere near the West Coast. So a lot of you guys who couldn't get over here, you know, we still love to have you, because this is literally the newborn, and this is the world activation. So this is the planetary activation that's happening in Miami, and there will never, ever be an event like this just because of where it is. But every single place on the planet will be very specific for a different type of activation. So thank you guys for joining me. If you want information on the tour, obviously it's in the comments, and it will be in the comments and linked on YouTube as well. If you guys are interested in studying with me or jumping in my academy, you can just find me on Facebook, Jessica Alstrom Quantum Life TICA, and that is a subscription group. It is $22 a month for you to be a part of that group, and basically I teach about 16 to 25 hours a month in that. Live question and answers, interactive. We've got different teachers coming in now and teaching, so it's a hell of a deal if you're on your journey and you're hungry for more quantum information. Or you can go the full route with me and come join me for a year and study with me and get certifications or whatever it is that you need to feel, you know, become the master of light and step into your role of demonstration. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you on the tour. Look for the tour information. And if you guys have any questions on tickets or payment options or anything like that at all, reach out to my messenger team on the Quantum Revolution Tour Facebook page. And my team is ready to answer questions pretty much around the clock about hotels, air flights, you know, group rates, payment plans, anything that you need. If you feel really drawn to be there, I would really tell you guys to go for it, because it's time for you to say yes to yourself. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you in the classrooms this week for live question and answer in TICA. Or I will see you in Miami next week. Bye, guys.